So from that angle also you can look at it. SIP gives you a better, risk measure. I would say risk को control कर सकते हैं उसके अंदर. Lump sum में वो थोड़ा सा at least initial phase में थोड़ा सा difficult होता है. So between these two, I would always suggest कि SIP is better. But as long as you can do for very long term, lump sum also is fine.
Okay, vote goes to SIP. Next question, please. Yeah, girl, please. In pink t-shirt. Stand up, please.
Good evening, sir. You've just mentioned that equity funds have shown to give the highest returns, right? But after we start earning, and suppose we just have funds enough for one mutual fund, should we go for pure equity mutual funds or multi-asset mutual funds? What should we go for?
Okay, good question again. So when you're looking at it from a very long term, on a 5-year basis, 10-year basis, 20-year basis, when you look at it from that angle, equities, a pure equity fund is always a better option from a return point of view versus the, the multi-asset or different assets getting added into it. Debt can be part of it, gold or silver can be part of it. Those kind of multi-asset products are also there. When you're looking at it from a shorter term, maybe a 2-year, 3-year, those kind of investment, maybe it will be better to have a multi-asset because it is a better risk-adjusted return product versus the pure equity, in terms of investment. So it is always better to, from a long-term point of view, equity. If it is shorter term, it can be a mix of assets. Another angle to also look at is there is a thumb rule which says that 100 minus your age should be your equity exposure. So आपको 20 जो है वो fixed income या बाकी सारे product category में डालने पड़ेंगे if your age is let's say 20, right? So that also is another angle which comes in, which is called as asset allocation. So asset allocation maybe it's better, but pure equity and in terms of returns, pure equity is always considered best. But उसमें risk भी ज़्यादा है. So you have to understand.
But sir, recently what we have seen commodities prices, precious metals, gold and silver prices. तो आपको नहीं लगता कि portfolio थोड़ा और balanced होना चाहिए?
Balanced portfolios are always good. In terms of returns, अभी जो ये commodities में जो returns आई हैं, वो एक phase है. That phase may not necessarily be a very long phase. जैसे हमने जैसे equity market में जो return देखा वो बहुत long है. That's a 45-year plus time period. जब long term में देखते हैं तो assets जो studies दिखा रही हैं वो the studies are very clearly telling that equities are the best in terms of the returns. Risk wise, of course, the others are helping in terms of reducing. So, but right now the phase which is gold, silver, all of them are doing good. तो वो phases होते हैं बीच में. And a time when let's say you're investing for a few years from now, let's say 3-4 years, जैसे 2-3 साल के लिए invest कर रहे हैं, तो diversify करके और उसको multi-asset segment में invest करना better रहेगा, because equities are always good when you look at it from a much longer.
ज़्यादा exposure equity की तरफ ही होना चाहिए.
That's right. From a long term, that way, and yeah, gold, silver is also fine. It's good, but that should be seen more from an asset allocation perspective.
Got it. Next question. बहुत सारे हाथ उठे थे. Yes, please. Stand up and ask. Yeah.
I mean, sir was talking about a lot of assets and different financial instruments.
Mic up, please.
Yeah.
Mic up.
We were talking about a lot of financial instruments, and we will be starting our first jobs. So, what should we be doing to learn about different kinds of financial instruments and understand what kind of financial discipline philosophies are there?
CNBC-Awaaz देखें. Just kidding.
Yeah, so I think there is enough and more literature which is available in many of the mutual fund websites, and there are even SEBI websites have information about it. You have another one which is called as the AMFI. AMFI is the Association of Mutual Funds of India. For there also you have these information which is available. If you want to add some value to your CV, you can do NISM exams. And ISM exams can give you materials for you to read and qualify. And these certificates will also help you in future because usme wo understanding and, it becomes better for you. So that is the way I would say that you can actually, learn more about it. And of course, attending any of these kind of sessions and all would be helpful. People who are experienced can give you, people from the industry can give you more inputs and insights about it. One thing which I would say is that you shouldn't be spending too much of time trying to understand about a company and, getting into it, which stock to buy, which stock to sell. Might as well spend more time in terms of your job which you're doing and let that be given to somebody else who is already doing it. So mutual funds can actually help you do that. So, but understanding the concept is always good. Definitely good.
कार भार इनके कंधों पे डाल दें. Next question, please. Yes, the guy in front. Yeah, beside the hoodie one.
Evening, sir. Inflation and other global economic trends, is now a good time to invest in stocks, or should we look into other investing options like bonds, ETFs, or mutual funds?
Okay. This comes back to the same question which was there initially. In a ways, it's about the timing as to is it the right time to get into it or not, right? The point to be understood is that as long as you can invest for long term, it really doesn't matter. How much of difference can it make in a 40 years journey or in a 30 years journey? How much of difference can it make as to what levels you have got into? पहले 1 साल 2 साल में उसका impact हो सकता है. But if you look at it from a long term, it really doesn't matter. As I said, markets, the graph showed that markets have delivered 15+% return. अब 1 साल में market नीचे गया. Let's assume that market is corrected and you don't know, when it is going to come back. And you're not investing because of that reason. You might actually miss out because after some time the markets may catch up. So it's better not to do that timing. So we generally say timing, time in the market is more important than timing the market, right? So that's very important. So do not try to time. Do not see the equity markets as a gambling place. See it as a place where you can buy good companies which will grow. So you're buying into those good companies and you're growing along with that. That's the way to look at it. And hence, if you don't know which stock to buy, use mutual funds route. That's the way I would put it. So do not try to time. Let the investment be done. At any point in time, you can do it. But as long as it can be long term. But I would also put it this way, that if there is some corrections which have happened, markets have come below a particular level, could be a good time to look at investing more for you so that you can get average price at lesser levels.
Time in the market is very important. अगर wealth creation का आप सोच रहे हो तो इस साइड से कोई question नहीं आए. पूछना चाह रहे हैं यहाँ पे? No? Okay. The guy here in front.
Hi, good evening, sir. Would there be any sources of information that you would recommend for a beginner getting into investing? Because I see a lot of social media hype and mis-selling, so I just don't want to be diverted by them.
Sir, ये बहुत important question है क्योंकि I'm adding to that question. Social media जिस तरीके से expand कर रहा है, everybody is ज्ञानी there. Correct. Giving n number of ज्ञान्स और जैसे यहाँ के बच्चे confuse होते हैं, हम खुद confuse होते हैं. तो किस पे भरोसा करें और कैसे इस journey में आगे बढ़ें?
Right. So I think very similar question had come earlier. The way it can be managed is that you have to, as I said, there are literatures which are available. In the websites, there are good literatures which are available, plus the exam and ISM exam materials are also available. Read through that once. That can help you in terms of understanding about it. One of the websites which I would recommend is the AMFI website, which is the Association of Mutual Funds of India. That also gives you a perspective about the financial planning and how you have to do that. That also is there. So you can actually think about, go into that website and read. Plus SEBI website, and there are mutual fund house websites are also there. All of those websites give you good insight. So read through that. That is what I would suggest.
Okay. Question from, yeah, please. Stand up,
And
please.
one more thing, please do not go by the tips which are coming in the market. Please do not. You have to go in a very disciplined manner. Yeah.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Like I have one question. As you mentioned before, that some companies which will grow faster, you have to stick with them, like majority of the time. So how to, like those companies will liquefy some of the amount of their equity, right? So how to, analyze that company that it will grow? What is the procedure of it?
कंपनी कैसे चुनना किसमें इन्वेस्ट करना है?
Right. This again goes back to the same question itself, that कि इसमें कंपनी को आइडेंटिफाई कैसे करेंगे कौन सा कंपनी परचेज करना है, राइट? I wouldn't really recommend that you should spend too much of time on that. As I said, experts कर रहे हैं तो उनको दे दो, that's better. But still, if you want to do that, the answer to that is you will have to look into the company's, past in terms of how the company has, delivered the return on capital employed and how much of debt it has. There are a lot of analysis which has to be done. It's called as fundamental analysis. You'll have to do fundamental analysis. This is actually done by the analysts in mutual fund companies or any other portfolio managers generally have analysts. Analysts ka kaam hota hai wo, where they go in depth into it and then, invest into it. So, usme, these things about who's running the company, what is the pedigree, what is the experience, how has these company been in terms of the financials, are they strong, what has been their track record in terms of returns, in terms of the debt, everything. So, ये सब कुछ देखना पड़ेगा उसमें. So, it's a detailed fundamental analysis which you'll have to do.
बहुत काम है इसमें. Question from backside? Yeah. Please stand up.
Hello, sir. I have got two small questions. Is it fixed that 12% is the return, or can it change?
Okay.
And the second question is, how can you explain briefly how tax works out in this?
Right, sure. So, first question, which is about the 12% part. 12% is only an illustration. It's not that that was taken for an illustration purpose. आपका return depend करेगा कि आपने कब invest किया और कब exit किया. What we have generally seen is the fund's return and the investor's return are different. उसका कारण ये होता है कि fund might be there for long, but you might have entered at certain point and exited at a certain point, so your return would be very different. So, return would completely depend on when you have entered and when you have exited, but generally over a longer period of time, it has the ability to deliver good returns. I can only say good returns because nobody knows how future is, what your future returns are. Past performance may or may not be returned in future. So that's one caveat which is there. Equity markets में कैसे returns बनेगा किसी को नहीं पता. But the fact is, if the economy is doing good, the companies are doing good. And if the companies are doing good, the share prices have to do well. And if you have invested into those share prices, you should also do well. That's the way to look at it, right? So you can make good returns. It is not 12%. It depends completely on when you have invested and when you have exited. You can take the past history of the markets. ये जो return आपने देखा वो market का return था. There are funds which are trying to deliver better return than that also. And in this process, sometimes they deliver better. There are cases where they have delivered lesser return than this also. So it all depends on where you have invested, how you have invested. But invest in a diversified manner. Never invest only into one fund. Invest in a diversified manner is always best. Have a reasonable expectation and invest for long term. Coming to the tax part of it, in India, we have always had benefit of investing in the equity markets at a lesser tax rate. The tax rates are much lesser. The taxation part of it is much lesser versus the other investments which are there, let's say in a bank deposit, etc. Currently, it is about 12.5% if you're investing for more than 1 year. And versus when you're investing, let's say, in a bank deposit, etc., there it is as per whatever is your tax rate. So this gives you a benefit of investing because the government also wants you to participate in the capital markets.
Okay. स्टूडेंट्स से तो काफी सर दे आर वेरी साउंडेड, बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग क्वेश्चंस पूछे. एक क्वेश्चन, क्योंकि मैंने बहुत सारे उड़ान इवेंट कवर किए सर, और कॉमन क्वेश्चन जो यहाँ नहीं पूछा गया तो मैं आपसे पूछना चाह रही हूँ. और बहुत सारे बच्चों ने ये सवाल उठाया कि उस वक्त तो मारुति गाड़ी की जरूरत थी, तो गाड़ी खरीदे या शेयर खरीदे?
गुड क्वेश्चन. मेरे को यही क्वेश्चन किसी ने पूछा था. और उन्होंने मेरे को ये बोला कि अभी मारुति जो है वो गाड़ी है, गाड़ी का रिक्वायरमेंट है, तो गाड़ी तो खरीदना पड़ेगा. मैंने कहा फॉर्चुनेट कि आपने मैंने कॉलगेट नहीं बोला कि ब्रश करना बंद कर दे. तो इट वाज, बट या, कमिंग बैक टू दिस, the idea of showing that is only to say that the power of equity is what the whole thing is. बस इतना बताने के लिए है कि equity में बहुत ज्यादा power है in terms of generating that return over a longer period of time, because these are companies which are generating good returns, and if you are wanting to participate in that, might as well do that. So कार खरीदना है तो कार खरीद लीजिए, there's no problem on that. But on the other hand, do not lose the opportunity of investing. That should be done. That was only to illustrate कि equity में अच्छा returns बनता है.
Thank you, Mr. Joseph. Thank you for answering these questions. Thank you, students, for engaging. One last question? Okay, please. One question. Ask. Hold the mic up and ask.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. Myself Prashant. So I want to ask how to choose the mutual fund company like UTI have a different SBI. So that I get a more benefit on or the SIP.
सौटे की घड़ी पर डाल दिया.
Sure. It's a tough one for me.
Yes.
Okay, so the answer to that is what you have to actually select is the categories. Category में diversified equity category होता है, flexi cap category होता है. There are these different categories which are there. There are three parts: large cap, mid cap, small cap. You should invest into a diversified fund to start with. That's always better. Equity में अगर start करते हो तो diversified fund में start कीजिए. Return is not the best way to look at it. One of the big mistakes which people make is by looking at the return and past return. That's not the way it has to be looked at. You have to look at it from a point of view of how long this particular fund house has been there, how long this fund is in existence, what has been the consistency of in terms of its return which it has delivered. It's not about the highest return, it is about the consistency in return and the strategy which the fund uses. So these are the reasons for which you should decide. तो ये सारे के बेसिस पे आपको डिसाइड करना पड़ेगा कि कौन सा फंड आपको चूज करना है. एंड देयर आर इनफ information which is available in the internet where you can pull it out and see.
Okay, thank you, students, for engaging and asking brilliant questions. Thank you, Mr. Joseph,
Thank
for
you.
answering these questions. Thank you so much.